Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another live Chelsea news and transfer video. We're going to go through all of the latest regarding Chelsea. We've got a couple of updates for you, as well as a few things that have been in the pipeline for a little while, but we're starting to see some fruition. So big up to everyone that's watching, not just on YouTube, but also on X. And let's get straight into this. As you can see with the thumbnail, we've had a couple of updates regarding Kvaratskhelia. He remains, worth about £80 million, according to Napoli. And PSG are the number one club that are being linked with this particular player. But Chelsea is still on the radar. As far as we are aware at the moment, these are some difficult names, Kvaratskhelia's camp are discussing terms of PSG as they're offering over 4 times his current salary. So it seems like a no-brainer in that sense, but you never know. These things can break down. And I'm not actually sure what the player's on at the moment, but he's got to be on around 60 or 70 grand a week at Napoli at least. He's on he's on even less. He's on a 40,000 euro contract per week. So you can understand why he's trying to force a move, or why we would want to force a move, because he's going to get paid way more. I didn't realize he was on such little amount. I suppose Italians, though, they're not able to pay what the Premier League clubs can. Hope you're doing very well, mate. We need a solid, ruthless striker that could seal a game for us, and a good centre-back replacement for Fofana. We do need a good striker. My opinion on the strikers is very simple. I think Jackson's good enough to get us top 4. I really do. Is he going to win us a league based on what I've seen? Probably not. But he is good enough to get us top 4, 100%. If you look at his improvement in his track record since he's been at Chelsea, he has improved massively. He's just got a long way to go, but he definitely has improved. So just to confirm, guys, this is according to Ben Jacobs. Chelsea have not approached Napoli or Kvaratskhelia. Okay, that we have not approached them, but he is a player that's on the radar. So if anything was to fall through with PSG, then you never know. Something could happen. It's certainly on the cards. Also, Borussia Dortmund, they did ask for John Duran's price, and they've been quoted £71 million by Aston Villa. It's 85 million euros. Bear in mind, this is a player that we tried to sign for about, I think it was 30 million or 40 million, and Aston Villa wanted 50, and we said no. His value's gone up by close to 50% since then. What does that tell you? Maybe our directors and our recruitment, they're not as bad as we thought they were, huh? Jackson is good, but definitely needs competition to bring in the best out of him. I completely agree with that. Absolutely. He does need someone. We saw it at the beginning of the season with Nkunku when Nkunku was coming in and making an impact. There was pressure on Jackson to perform, and he did do it. And then now you can see he's pretty much solidified as our number 1 striker, and there's not an awful lot of pressure on him from Nkunku. Torino are preparing a new bid, which will include a sell-on clause for Cesare Casadei. However, Napoli are not willing to match Chelsea's requests. They've already agreed a deal with Billing from Bournemouth. That's why they're not as keen to match what we're asking for, because we want a sell-on clause as well. Obviously, a higher transfer fee than what was originally offered by Torino, close to the 15-16 million pound mark. And that's why Napoli are obviously not interested, because I don't think they want to have any of those terms. Because if they did want to sell the player, they obviously want to make profit. With the sell-on clause, it might be difficult to do so. Whereas Torino see this player as someone who can come in straight away and affect what they're doing and essentially be a starter. We've seen what Casadei is able to do in Italy. Obviously, we brought him from Inter a couple of years ago. And he was the big prospect in world football. There's a lot of clubs that were linked with this guy, and Chelsea were the team that managed to win the race. But we haven't given him a chance. Is that entirely our fault? No, because we have to win matches straight away. We can't just develop players and not get results. The truth is, I think Casadei's just not quite at the level to really push on in this Chelsea side. But if we were speaking in a year or two, then we could be having a different conversation. But long term, we have adequate cover in the midfield. We've got Santos, who's on loan in Strasbourg. We know that he's not going to be coming back. He's going to stay in France and finish out that loan. He's a key part of that project. And we know that Ugachukwu is potentially being linked with a move back, even though the new Southampton manager is very keen to keep him at the club. But I don't see what kind of experience that is, being part of one of the worst teams in the Premier League. I mean, the worst. They're terrible. Where do you gain more valuable experience? Being a squad player in a top four team, or being a squad player in a relegation team? Because he hasn't actually played that many minutes for Southampton, not under Russell Martin. So from that perspective, I do think that Ugachukwu is certainly a player that Chelsea need to just recall. I mean, it makes no sense to keep him at Southampton because it's a detriment to ourselves. What we're doing is we're risking Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez from a fitness perspective just to keep a player out on loan. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Good morning. It is my breakfast time. Right, what else is going on? Christopher Nkunku is thought to be open to a move away from Chelsea either this month or in the summer. Now, this is also interesting because PSG looking at Kvaratskhelia from Napoli. If they manage to get that deal over the line, does that affect what's happening with Nkunku? Or are they going to go in the market for multiple players? Good players as well, very good players. I mean, these would be quite major additions to the French side. They're already top of Ligue 1, but, you know, we'll be looking at it from a European standpoint as well, which PSG have always done. That's been their major goal, isn't it, to win the Champions League? So if they're getting Kvaratskhelia and they want to quadruple his wage, they're going to pay him 160 grand a week. And Nkunku's on more than 160 grand. He's on about 180, 190. So I don't know if PSG need to get rid of any other players. Financial fair play as well. So that's certainly something to consider. Where am I? I'm at home. Just at my home. What else is going on, guys? Dewsbury Hall has got high-profile interest from Germany. De Sassy could also be allowed to leave this month. We don't actually know which German team it is. We still don't know. I can't believe it. But there is some reports saying, well, rumors, I would say, that it could be Bayern Munich. And Vincent Kompany is the manager that's interested in Dewsbury Hall. Although, again, I don't understand how the hell does that make any sense. I don't get it at all. But each of their own. To be fair, do you remember Choupo-Moting from bloody Stoke City? he went on to play for PSG and Bayern Munich. So, I mean, these teams could certainly make things work with a number of players. But I'm just struggling to see what Dewsbury Hall can offer to a Munich team with such great players. I mean, where would he play? What would his role be? I mean, he's not going to be a starter, presumably, but I don't know. I don't know. There's also an article that's come out on The Athletic late yesterday, and it's all about Caicedo and how he's become Chelsea's least replaceable player. And we're going to go through this as well, because this kind of goes with what I've been saying about Ugachukwu and why we need to bring Ugachukwu back into the fold. This is a no-brainer for me. You need a rotation option in there. Let's go through it together, guys. It has been a while since anyone has used Moises Caicedo as a £115 million stick with which to beat Chelsea's recruitment strategy. You have had to go back to December 2023, in fact, and then Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp's quip that they had been lucky to miss out on the Ecuador international a few months earlier, finding themselves outbid after agreeing a £111 million fee with Brighton. There are still unlikely to be any regrets at Anfield about the way things have panned out, especially in light of Jurgen Klopp's success at Arne Slot, transferring Ryan Gravenberch into an elite number 6 this season. But the mockery of the fee has aged very badly. Not because Caicedo has actually been able to live up to that ludicrous price tag, which has always been an unreasonable expectation, but because of an excellent 2024 has firmly established him as being every inch the world-class midfielder Chelsea believed him to be. There were clear signs in the second half of last season under Mauricio Pochettino that Caicedo was overcoming the pressure that accompanied his record-breaking move, steadily eliminating the individual errors that marred a difficult start to life in West London. His spectacular goal from the halfway line against Bournemouth at Stamford Bridge in May was a fitting punctuation mark on months of positive progress. That upward trajectory has continued this season, with Pochettino being replaced by Enzo Maresca, who has tweaked Caicedo's position to make him more of a specialised number 6 in this structured system. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic, hasn't he, Caicedo? And when you look at Caicedo's stats here, he's become a more focused midfield destroyer this season. There you go. He's usually further on the right-hand side. You can see his heat map over there. And the same over here when he plays on the other side, I'm guessing. And that's compared to last season under Poch. He's got a lot more of the ball. The patrolling presence of Caicedo at the base of midfield, snapping into tackles, making smart interceptions and playing sharp passes that put Chelsea on the front foot, has been a non-negotiable for Maresca. No player in the squad has played more Premier League minutes than the Ecuador international, and the only other player to start every one of the club's 20 league games is their 13-goal top scorer, Cole Palmer. Palmer is Chelsea's best player, and were it not for the blistering form of a certain Egyptian powering Liverpool's march towards the title, he would probably be the consensus pick as the best in the division. But there is a strong case to argue that Caicedo is one that Maresca would find it hardest to do without. That is not as incendiary a statement as it might initially appear. Almost every Chelsea attack goes through Palmer, and with good reason. His ability to create high-quality shots for himself and his teammates is unrivaled in the Stamford Bridge ranks. The 22-year-old England international is both the best finisher and the best passer at the club. Losing him for an extended period would force Maresca to significantly tweak the team's approach in the final third. But the other players could temporarily fill part of that huge void. Chief among them, Christopher Nkunku, whose skill set is far more suited to playing Palmer's role than that of Nicholas Jackson up front. Maresca also has another skillful, imaginative attacker in the summer signing, João Felix, who, like Nkunku, is neither a true striker or a winger. Well, I mean, this is fairly obvious. And Kunku's going to go to PSG. And João Felix, nobody bloody trusts him. Let's see what the comments are saying. Well, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. I think it depends on the summer as well. Big up Carlito. Big up Nehemiah. We won't be getting Kvara. That smells of PSG in every way. Focus on who matters. Liam Delap. Novo doesn't agree with that. So who would you get, Novo? I think Delap's a great striker. Do you not see how he tore us to shreds when we played Ipswich? They absolutely dismantled us. I mean, Delap's going to be very difficult. If we can get that deal done, then fair enough. But how much are you going to pay for the player? 40 million, 50 million, 60 million. These are all numbers that could come into play. But Santos is definitely not coming back. And I think that's a good thing because I think it's better for his development. And Strasbourg need him. Anyway, let me finish this article and then we can go on to some other stuff. Chelsea's attack would suffer mightily if Palmer was sidelined for a significant chunk of the season. There is enough alternative talent in the squad to replace him in the aggregate for a game or two. The same cannot be said about Caicedo, who at times this season has resembled the connective tissue holding the entire team together. No player in the Premier League has made more combined tackles and interceptions than Caicedo, who's made 93. An even more remarkable statistic when you consider that Chelsea, who are averaging 58.2% possession in the top flight, second to only Man City 61.4%, afford him fewer opportunities to rack up either than tough tackling rivals in less dominant passing teams. I mean, I don't think that's entirely strange because we're also a team that win the ball back quickly because we like to come up and press. So as soon as we lose the ball, we're going straight back in and we're putting the teams that we play under a lot of pressure. So I don't think that that's entirely strange. It's no surprise to learn that he grew up playing football with Chelsea predecessor N'Golo Kante's name on the back of his shirt. He is my idol. Everyone knows this. Caicedo told the club's official website last month. And I've said before, I just tried to help the team and my teammates. Kante was a very big player for Chelsea. I've always watched videos of him, and now I try to give my best. There is no other player in the squad even remotely capable of doing what Caicedo does consistently as well as he does it. In Interesting comparison here about Romeo Lavia. They're saying he's more of a Kovacic than a Kante comparison. Brilliant at receiving the ball under pressure and jinking away into space or playing a slick pass, but not yet defensively aware enough to be relied upon as the primary midfield destroyer. Enzo Fernandez is better utilised higher up the pitch, whereas defensive flaws are less damaging. Maresca has limited his trial of Casadei as a number 6 in games in the UEFA Conference League, and the young Italian could leave Chelsea permanently this month. It does look like that's going to be for Torino. Vega, despite flashing promise as an inverted left-back since joining in the summer, has not even been trusted to play alongside Caicedo in the Premier League since the 1-0 win against Bournemouth in September. Santos is also cited as the best equipped alternative on Chelsea's books. He is not expected to be recalled, but this is where they seem to agree with me. The better course might be to bring in Leslie Ugochukwu, regarded internally as having Tchouaméni level long-term upside, back early from his miserable loan at a hapless Southampton. So there you go. It's not just me who thinks it. They also think it in the Athletic as well. It makes no sense to bring back Santos. Look, if someone's having a good loan and you can justify bringing them back, that's fair enough. But, you know, if Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez don't get injured, and there's a good chance they don't get injured, then Santos's game time, it's not going to be, you know, what everyone wants it to be. And Ugochukwu was a player who's not had a ridiculous amount of game time at Southampton, but at least being at Chelsea, you can appreciate that you've got much better players than you at that moment in time. So you've got to break into the squad. Santos is pretty much ready to come in. So why not just wait until next season when hopefully we've got rid of some of the other players? You know, you've got your Dewsbury Halls out, your Casadei's out. There's a real place for the squad, you know, at that moment. Caicedo's importance is further underlined by the fact Maresca has only felt comfortable enough to bring him off twice in the Premier League this season. Once in August when Chelsea were 5-2 up after 76 minutes against Wolves, and in November when his side enjoyed a 2-0 lead away to Leicester. The latter game became unexpectedly nervy after Caicedo's 81st minute withdrawal, with Lavia conceding a penalty that was converted by Jordan Ayew. No team can avoid becoming reliant on their best players. Maresca last month insisted that Caicedo is good enough to sit at that table of elite holding midfielders with Rodri and Declan Rice. I completely agree with him. I think he's definitely one of the best midfielders. Different type of player. I mean, if we're looking at Rice and Rodri, for example, I do think he's a little bit different. You know, I consider out of the three of them, I would say going up the pitch, I think that Rice is really good at making good runs, you know, as almost an 8 at times. You know, even against Newcastle, I was watching Rice and I was quite impressed with him. Rodri probably better on the ball than all of them. But I think defensively, Caicedo's got to be the best of the three, 100%. He's the best. He's the best defensively by quite some way, and his stats prove that as well. With the amount of times he wins possession back, you know, everyone's saying, well, that's difficult with Chelsea's system because we have the ball so much. And Man City have the ball a lot. Arsenal have the ball a lot, not as much as we do from an Arsenal perspective, but yeah, I mean, we've got a real player on our hands. So respect Caicedo. He, along with everyone else, cannot fail to have noticed the extent of Man City's struggles to control games and defend transition attacks this season without their injured reigning Ballon d'Or winner. Caicedo has been impressively durable for Chelsea too. He started their final 20 Premier League games of last season from Christmas on, and not even frequent, grueling, long-haul international breaks spent in South America have affected his availability. But even the most physically resilient bodies have a breaking point. The clubs need to be more mindful of those limits than ever as they manage key players through an increasingly crowded schedule. Maresca's wisely limited Casadei's involvement in the Conference League to featuring in both legs of the qualifying playoff against cfctvyt of Switzerland in August and the FA Cup third round tie at home to fourth division strugglers Morecambe on Saturday offers a well-timed breather after an intense festive run. Chelsea's head coach has seen in his first 6 months at Stamford Bridge to be mindful of the possibility that a Premier League top four finish could well depend on keeping his least replaceable player on the pitch when it matters. That's a good article. That is a very good article. And I think it basically it goes along with what I was saying about Ogachukwu. There's no point of not having Ogachukwu in back in the Chelsea setup. Why not? The guy's getting no minutes at Southampton. Yeah, he probably will start to get minutes, but it's too late. It's too late. Let's see what else is out there. Because I think it's fairly obvious that, yeah. In fact, let's actually look at Ogachukwu here for a second. Ogachukwu. I'll share my screen with you. Okay. Strasbourg is absolutely important because if Strasbourg get relegated, that fucks everything up. And then there's no point of sending players on loan there. You don't want Strasbourg to get relegated, which is why you keep Santos there. That's one of the reasons. But also because Santos is actually developing. Why ruin a good season? It's not critically important to bring Santos back. We need someone who can replace Caicedo. If Caicedo gets injured, Ogachukwu is the first choice for me. Also, we know that Maresca likes Ogachukwu. So this is not like, the guy's not testing a player that he's never played before. He got a good chance in pre-season. So this is interesting, huh? Have a look at this. Oh, for fuck's sake. So he's made 10 appearances in the Premier League. Oh, God. Why does he always do that? He's made... Right. He's made 10 appearances in the Premier League, but 20% of them has been in the starting 11, and he's only played 25% of the minutes available. So he's only started 2 of those 10 games. Let's see. Current season. This is why we should bring back Ogachukwu. Against Newcastle, not in the squad. They lost. On the bench, they lost. On the bench, they lost. Played 64 minutes in the loss against United. 31 minutes in a draw against Ipswich. They lost against Bournemouth on the bench, on the bench, on the bench. A few substitute appearances. Not in the squad for the next 4 games. Now, in recent times, he's played a little bit more, to be fair. But only because they've had a new manager. That's the reason why. 87 minutes against West Ham, Palace, Brentford, 90 minutes in that game. And then he's played a couple of minutes. He's played in the EFL Cup a few times as well. But that is not great reading, to be honest with you guys. That's not great reading. This is a player who, in my opinion, just needs to come back. I don't think it's been a massively beneficial loan. That's my opinion on it. Let's have a look at Santos then. Yeah, does that come up? Does he come up? Andre Santos. Andre Santos. Okay. So let's compare this. So you have a player who was starting 20% of the games and played 25% of the minutes available on loan. Do you think that is beneficial to the player? You also have another player, 15 appearances, 6 goals, 1 assist, but he's starting 94% of games. He's basically starting every week. And he's playing 92% of the minutes. So even when he's being started, he's very rarely getting taken off. And 25% goal participation. I don't know what that means. Does that mean in terms of the team's goals or? Bloody hell. If that is the team's goals, then yeah, they definitely need to keep him. I think that's got to be. Yeah, that's got to be the goal participation because that's over 50%. That's almost 50%. So he's involved in 25% of Strasbourg's goals. That's crazy, man. It makes no sense to bring him back. 0 cents. Let's look at the current season. Oh, come on, guys. Surely you can see the difference between why we bring back Ugachukwu and why we don't bring back Santos. 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. Yeah? Scoring goals as well, key goals. These goals are getting Strasbourg points, and they're in a relatively mixed position at the moment in Ligue 1. They're not in a relegation battle per se, but they are struggling a little bit more than... Where's the fucking league table? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the table. I'll share it with you. You see that? So since I last looked, Strasbourg seemed to be doing a little bit better. Okay, they've actually, I think they've got a win since I last checked. But yeah, Oh, actually, they're in a much better position. I think they were like 14th last time I checked. So they've definitely got some points since I last checked. But they need all the help they can get because there's not an awful lot actually between, let's just say, 16th and 9th. 5 points, 2 wins, 2 bad results, and you're right down here at the bottom of the table. So why risk sabotaging Strasbourg's season when you've got a player in Ugachukwu? So that's my stance on it. That's what I think. And I think it makes perfect sense. I think it's quite obvious, but not everybody agrees with me. So there's no reason to bring back Santos. You get rid of Casadei, potentially Dewsbury Hall goes to Germany. Seems like maybe the club could be Bayern Munich. I mean, I don't actually know, but that's a rumor that I've heard. And then you bring back Ugachukwu and you leave Santos. Let him be. Let the man do his thing. Do his ting. That's what they say, isn't it? Right, going back to Kvaratskhelia, I don't think there's any more updates, but I will double check again. Any more updates on this player? Yeah, I mean, he's 23 years old. He's obviously affordable in terms of the wage prospects. I mean, even if he's on like triple the wage, we could still afford him technically, considering we bought Tosin in for 120 grand a week. It wouldn't be much more for Kvaratskhelia, and you still triple his wages. Well, it would be the same actually. He would match Tosin if you triple his wage. Liverpool are also looking at the situation. They're not actively looking, but it does look like PSG. Yeah, this is going to be their deal. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But listen, guys, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to wrap it up there. Okay. And I will jump on another live maybe later on today if I've got some more updates for you guys. If not, you will see me on the weekend. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. And check out our sponsor, Stocks FC. For those of you who don't know Stocks FC, guys, it is a platform where you can go and invest in your favorite football players, a bit like the stock market, but instead of buying a company, you can buy your favorite players. Get them while their stock is still cheap, and hopefully you can make some money on them. It's easier for you to check it out for yourself than me to explain it, but there is a link down below. So check it out, click the link, and see what's going on. Stocks FC. All the best, guys, and we will catch up very, very soon.